What's going on, everyone? It's Tay, aka Slay, and we gonna get a little personal today. It's really funny that I'm filming this today. I thought the anniversary of what I'm going to be discussing was Saturday, but Facebook reminded me, because I took a selfie before I left the house, that today is actually the anniversary of the last time I had sex. I want to start off this video with a disclaimer. This is not me preaching. This is not me saying, listen, y'all need to cut it out. Stop having sex outside of relationships. Sex is supposed to be for marriage. No, none of that. Tay is extremely sex positive. We are pro-ho in this house, okay? Please have as little or as much sex as you want. All I ask is that people are healthy, people stay safe, that there is consent, and that all parties know what the tea is. And I will go into that as we dive a little deeper into why I stopped having sex and what I've learned in the year since the last time I've had sex. So let's jump into it, shall we? Now, I'm not going to go through my entire sexual history because we'll be here forever and y'all don't need to hear that. I don't know all of y'all like that. But I lost my virginity when I was 18. Went through a phase, and came to a decision after that phase that I was no longer, hi honey, that I was no longer the type of person that could have sex outside of a relationship. That's just me. There was a moment after a casual encounter where after my dude got his, he just rolled over and went to sleep, and I lied there feeling so empty and used. I was like, I can never do this again. This is just not who Tay is. We're not going to do this. Then I got into a situation with somebody who became a boyfriend where for a year before we entered a formal relationship, we were having sex. And that's one of the things I want to touch on. If you are the type of person who knows that they cannot be in a friends with benefits situation, don't do it to yourself. Please don't. Because I've been in that situation. I've been on both sides of the situation. I've been on the side where I've been the person who's like, all right, he says he doesn't want a relationship, but he's down to sleep with me. So maybe if I sleep with him often enough, he'll fall for me and we'll all get what we want. Yeah, no, don't do that to yourself. Don't do it. Please don't. I've also been the one that's like, I don't want to be with this person, but I'm down to get down. So, and funny story about that. We had sex 3 times and then I wanted to do it again. And I texted him like, yo, I need you to come through. And he got offended. He actually got offended. And the next time we talked, he's like, I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm like, okay. So I implore people to be honest with themselves and with each other. If you want to be in a relationship, find someone who wants to be in a relationship. Don't try to trick them or trick yourself into being in a relationship or a situationship, as the kids call them, by agreeing to just be friends with benefits. If you know in your heart of hearts that's not what you want. Please be good to yourself. If you're the type of person who knows that you're not a relationship person, but you still like to get in your sexy time, let that be known and make it clear as day. There is no line to read in between. It is as clear as the crystal in your mother's curio cabinet, okay? Please make that known. That's exactly the situation that I was in. Now, I've told you guys more times than you probably care to hear about my last breakup. And I think in my how I feel about being single at 38 video, I went into the guys that I've dealt with since my last relationship. But I want to go into a little bit more detail, and because they led to why I made the decision to stop having sex. So right after my breakup, there was a guy that I had been friends with for years at this point. He and I had been hanging out. I called him, told him about what was going on, and he actually came to stay with me. We went to the Cheesecake Factory, spent the whole day together. He stayed the night with me. We fooled around because when you are hurting, sometimes some sort of sexual activity can be a distraction, and the endorphin rush can help you forget that you're in pain. So that's what happened. A couple days after that encounter, I asked him if he wanted to start dating, because while I was in my relationship, he was a shoulder to cry on, and I cried a lot because of my relationship, not just the way it ended. He and I had hung out. Like I said, we had been friends for years, but we had grown steadily closer. And at one point, after him saying some extremely sweet things to me, it had me contemplating, okay, maybe this is the guy I actually need to be with. Well, a couple days after, like I said, our encounter, I asked him if he wanted to try being in a relationship. He said no, because he knew I was moving and he didn't see himself ever leaving New York, which was fine. And he had just started dating a girl who lived in Rhode Island, and he wanted to see how that worked out. I was like, well, I appreciate the honesty. What I thought was honesty at the time. Whew. He turns out that while he was still in this relationship, he was trying to get with my best girlfriend and trying to turn she and I against each other. Now, what you're not going to do is turn me against my sister. Okay, that I can't. I'm actually really glad I do not speak to this person anymore, because that little stunt, you don't deserve any of my attention, time, energy, none of it. Like, he honestly told her, I think Tay is jealous of our relationship. Okay, if I was jealous, I would have told my girl, like, listen, this is a person I care about. I'm starting to catch feelings. Woman to woman, how do we deal with this? And it was nothing of the sort. So for him to insinuate that that was the tea, I was like, nope. Actually, what I said to her was, his dick is not big enough for him to be acting like this. I'm going to keep it a buck. So after I found out that all that mess was happening and he got caught and we called him on it, nah, we're good on him. The summer of 2018, he had a barbecue. I decided to go. And the barbecue happened before I found out all of that foolishness and fuckery was taking place. So I went to the barbecue. One of our mutual friends showed up. Now, I had known this dude for a long time as well, but he was always on the fringe. You know, I had hung out with him. Every time we had like a group outing, he had a girlfriend with him. I rarely remember him being single. So I kind of took a step back. He was one of those people who I can't explain why, but the moment I met him, I wanted to get to know him better. I wanted to know everything. I was like, I wanted to know what made him tick, his likes and dislikes, you know, his morning routine. I don't know. There are certain people that when you meet them, you're instantly drawn to them. And you're like, I want to spend as much time with this person as possible. And we'll call him Jimmy. Jimmy was one of those people. But like I said, every time I saw him, he always had a girl. So I was like, let me just be cool. And I met him when I was with my ex-boyfriend, Daniel. So of course, we're not going to cross that line because Tay is not the type of girl. So 2018, I'm single. We're at this barbecue. I had posted on Facebook that I really wanted a platonic cuddle buddy because Tay is a very touchy-feely, very affectionate person. I love hugs, cuddles, holding hands, even with my platonic friends. And that's what I had posted. I said, I want a platonic cuddle buddy. That's one of the things I hate about being single is the lack of affection. Like, I am touch-starved, ladies and gentlemen. It sucks, but it is what it is. And, you know, he and I had talked about that, and he was like, oh, no, that's cool. So one of the things that I love to do is watch bad movies. I love watching bad movies. And that's what we did. That's what we always did when we got together, was we picked the worst movie in creation, and we watched it. So we're sitting there, we're watching The Room, we're watching Godzilla, the one that came out in 1997. And Jimmy and I are getting close, hugging each other, and all of a sudden, we're kissing. Which is fine. I hadn't been kissed in a minute. Long story short, I end up going home with him. Gonna keep it a buck. It was the best sex I ever had in my life. And I knew going into it, I was like, you know, this is just gonna be a one-time thing. I'm a grown woman. I'm okay with that. Because again, I know me. I am not the type of person that knows I can have sex with the same person multiple times and not feel something. That's not the way Tay is wired. I'm sorry. So that happened. I fell asleep and woke up in his arms, and he was so sweet, so affectionate. He drove me home, holding my hand. We were having conversations. Later that week, he's like, oh, you mentioned that you like John Mayer. Here's his episode of Hot Ones. Like, he was really sweet. And when he dropped me off, he said, we should actually go on a date. And I was like, I'd like that. And then we talked for like a month. And then when I finally said, listen, when can I see you again? He said that somebody from his past had just popped up and he wanted to see where it went with her. So, yeah. And I let it go. I let it go. Fast forward to June of last year, he contacts me out of nowhere and was like, hey, I just went to this awesome concert. I would really like to reconnect with you because I see, you know, the music made me feel all these things and I really want to spend more time with people I care about, and I do really care about you. Okay. Didn't psych myself out. Knew in the back of my mind that if I hung out with this dude, sex was probably going to happen because I know me. And I was down to have one last fling in New York before I left. So 2 weeks later, we meet up, have brunch in one of my favorite spots. He's like, it's a beautiful day. Let's go walk around Central Park. We walk around Central Park. As he's stopping to get like Dippin' Dots, he pulls me in and he kisses me. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Okay, but we know what it is. We know what the tea is. Don't get too excited. We sit down on a rock. He's holding me. He's nuzzling me. He's kissing me. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, he is being uber affectionate. Like, what is the tea? And then we get back to my apartment. We sit down to try to watch Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse, which is an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice. And then, you know, we were down for the get down and it happened. When we were done, finished watching Into the Spider-Verse, ate some pizza, had a gorgeous night, went to sleep, woke up. I saw him to the train so he could get back to where he lived. I just chalked it up to, I had a great day. It ended with, again, best sex of my life. But I know what it is. I'm not going to get my hopes up. Even though, you know, he's contacting me, checking up on me, I'm not expecting anything. So I sent him a message in response to a message he sent me about a week later. And he just lets it slide that he is now, yet again, seeing somebody from his past, you know, this girl they hadn't talked to in 18 months. And he's like, our conversations are starting to go this way. So I'm like, dude, like, I'm going to need to take a step back because I did let myself start to feel for you after this last encounter. So I need to get my mind right. And he was like, I understand. I was furious. One at myself for letting myself getting played a second time. And then furious at the fact that that was unnecessary. If you just wanted to get up in these guts, that's all you needed to say. You didn't need to make it all soft and sweet. Let's spend a whole day. Let's actually go on a date. Come and fall and sleep in my arms. Like, all of that was unnecessary. And I was like, I didn't need that. So because of that, and then the guy before, and then my last relationship, I was like, you know what? I just need to stop. I need my body to release the energy from those three people. Because while I don't have any like religious convictions around sex, like I said, please have as much or as little as you want. My thing is, when you have sex with somebody, there is an exchange of energy. It is intimacy. And you're letting somebody into your space. You are either entering or letting someone enter you. That is a very intimate, very powerful act. That's the way I see it. So with me, I'm just like, I need to refocus myself. I need to center myself, and I need to let the energy from these three people just flow from me, and I need to leave it be. On top of that, I was like, you know what? Like I said before, I want to stay single and celibate my first full year in California because I want to focus on building my career. I want to focus on school, and I really want to set myself up for success because I know me. I know that relationships, whether you want to admit it or not, relationships are distractions. They are something that require time and attention. And I want that time and attention to be focused on setting up myself for success. And yes, they are worth it. I love relationships. Relationships are amazing. And being in love is out of this world. It's fantastic. I miss it. But I want to be able to focus on building the life that I want so that I can be ready to give that extra time and attention to someone else. Because life is about priorities. And my priority, my first full year of living here, should be me. That was the mindset that I went into when I moved. And here comes, Miss Rona making very sure that I can't focus on anybody else but me. I can't meet nobody, So it's been quite a lonely time since lockdown. But that is what it is, and I'm trying my best to roll with it. Now, let's get into the title of the video, what I've learned. Because I have learned a lot about myself in the year that I have been celibate. I've also received downloads from the universe, as I call them, lessons about my last relationship, which I am extremely grateful for. And I truly believe that I would not have learned these lessons or have thought these thoughts if I was out in these streets wilding out, if I had tried to get into another relationship. I truly believe that a lot of this has been for my benefit, and I want to share those with you. The first thing I learned was that I fought so hard for my previous relationship because I wanted my fairy tale. Now, what I mean by fairy tale is not that I wanted my Prince Charming. It was, I wanted the story, the great story to tell my kids about how my mommy and daddy met and fell in love. Because I thought the way that I got into my last relationship was so romantic. He was somebody I went to high school with. Through the power of social media, found him through mutual friends, added him as a friend on Facebook. He never commented on anything. No likes, nothing on any of my posts. Until I posted about how I realized that every guy that I had been with was either in a long-term relationship or married. And I'm starting to wonder if I was the problem. And he came out of nowhere and commented, "You're a wonderful person. Stop this. You're not the problem." Something to that effect. And I was so moved because, again, he never commented on anything else. And this was the one post that he commented on. So something inside me was like, thank him. Send him a message, thank him, and say hi. So I messaged him that night, and we talked through Messenger for at least an hour. And I kept messaging him. I don't remember if I mentioned this in my How I Feel About Being Single video, but I realized that in especially the last 3 serious relationships I've been the pursuer. I texted my last boyfriend that night and I kept texting him because I didn't want him to forget about me. And 2 months later, he said, "Tell everyone I'm your boyfriend." That's how our relationship started. And, he was in the army and he was stationed in South Korea. And, when he finally came home that July, we were finally able to be together for the first time. And when we made love, it was magic. And, we spent a week with his parents and his family loved me. And well, at least his mom likes me. I really don't know how his dad felt about me. I know his son didn't like me, but that's a whole nother video. You know, when he got out of the army, we were together, we finally got married, and then you were conceived. Like, I wanted all of that. And I fought so hard for that because, again, I romanticized the way that I got into that relationship. I was like, well, this never happens. This is magic. This is special. I have to keep this, you know? And it screwed me up because it made me ignore a lot of red flags. And that was another thing that I realized during this time of isolation, that there were so many red flags that I just passed over because I wanted my fairy tale so badly. I was like, this is the one. It's finally my time. But especially with what's going on out in these streets, I know that he wasn't the right person for me now. I mean, obviously he wasn't the right person for me because he was cheating on me the entire time we were together. But, you know, like I said, this was a white dude and we got together right before Trump was elected. And I was like, you know, a lot of these racists are emboldened. I need to know if you're strong enough to stand up for me and any babies we may have. And he thought I meant strength as in physical strength. Like, are you going to be strong enough to take somebody down? Are you going to be strong enough to physically protect me? And I'm like, no. If somebody calls me the N-word out on the street, are you going to have the fortitude to be like, what you're not going to do is disrespect my family? Like, that's what I mean. But he was so offended by the fact that I asked him that because he thought I was questioning his manhood. Another thing that I realized was that I went into the relationship with the wrong mindset. As we were reconnecting, as we were talking, he was telling me about the demise of his marriage and how his son was being kept from him and how everything that happened, his career was in jeopardy and how that was contributing to a depression and his PTSD because he had gone to Afghanistan twice and all of these things. And I'm sitting here like, well, my love can heal him. If I love him hard enough and do whatever I can to show him that he matters to me, then maybe he'll be inspired to eat more than once a day, to start working out again, to put more energy into his career or planning for what happens if his career ends. You know, he'll want to be a better person. He'll want to start to do all of these things to build himself up because of my love. And that's one, a trauma response, and two, very selfish. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is not that I didn't like who I was, but I wouldn't marry the person that I was before this last relationship. I know who I was. I remember the woman I was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I was needy. I'm like, no, I need all of your attention. If your attention isn't on me, we gonna have a problem. I was the type of person who believed if we didn't have every single thing in common, we just wouldn't work. So I was the type of woman who would change myself in order to fit who I was with. I would be quiet when I should speak up because I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. I didn't want to rock the boat. I wanted to keep the peace, which is also a trauma response. Because I wanted so badly to be in love. And I also wanted desperately to be married. Now I'm at the point where as much as I would love to be in love, I really do want to meet my person. Who, again, I don't know how that's going to happen, but I'm leaving that up to the gods. But I'm not in such a rush. I can't be desperate because I cannot afford to miss those red flags again. That relationship taught me a lot about loving someone where they're at and learning to love someone from afar and not compromising the boundaries that you've set for yourself. And I needed those lessons. Honestly, I would be such a kick-ass wife now because of what I went through. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'd marry me. I'd be amazing. Blessed is he who makes me his wife. He better be a very strong dude too. All I'm saying is because I'm a lot. I know me. I am the epitome of an extrovert. I am the epitome of an Aries. I am loud, I'm boisterous, I'm in your face, y'all know, but that's why you love me. The last thing I've learned, and I'm probably going to learn a lot more, but one of the most poignant things that I learned was triggered by a Insta story by one of my friends. She shared a meme about how people who are used to bad relationships don't know how to behave when they're in a good relationship. Like, because there is no chaos, they find they get bored. And I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid of that. Because my last two relationships were full of me being gaslit, me either not sleeping or going to bed hella late and waking up with my eyes swollen shut because I cried myself to sleep. You know, not sleeping because I would be on the phone having those knock down, drag them out arguments. That's what I thought love was. It's like, you have to fight, you have to have drama. If there's no drama, am I gonna screw it up? Am I gonna cause drama because that's what I think love is? I lied. That wasn't the final thing I learned. I think one of the best things I've learned was that I am stronger and that I'm not as susceptible to verbal seduction as I used to be. Because I've had friends from my past pop up and try to shower me with these flowery compliments and tell me that I'm the only one for them and that they can't hold down a relationship because their hearts really belong to me. And I'm like, I haven't talked to you since I was 16. What? You know absolutely nothing about me. We're good. We are absolutely good. I've had to talk myself down from falling for somebody from my past. We're going to stay in the here and now, and we are going to stay grounded in reality. And I'm very, very thankful that I can do that, because I've been in quite a few situations since moving here where someone has been like, if I come out there, I know that you and I will take care of each other. I'm like, I don't know you. We may have known each other in the past, but we don't know who we are as people right now, especially not 25 years later. Like, you need to pump the brakes on that one, my dude. But I'm proud. I'm proud that I can do that. I'm proud that I'm not just sitting there staring at my phone stupidly, knowing that I'm probably about to be taken advantage of. I know that I am stronger. I know that I'm more level-headed. That's probably just something that comes with age as well, but I'm thankful for it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't want to be single anymore. I want my person. But I'm going to be patient, which is also never been my strong suit. But having to be forced to be patient, I'm grateful for. And that is what I've learned in my year of celibacy. I'm looking at another year because, again, Miss Rona is out in these streets still causing havoc. The choice that I've made for myself is to not give myself physically to another person until they've proven that they're worthy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for taking this walk with me down memory lane. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things. I know there are a million videos you could have watched today. I humbly thank you for coming to slay. Bye.